Hey, so warmed up a few projects here that I've had on the bench for a while. This Sommerkamp TS-2000DX, which is a 10 meter amateur radio, which a lot of people do the CB radio thing on it. I'm not criticizing, but anyway, since you got a pile of CB radio related stuff just sitting here, let's talk about it a bit. So this TS-2000DX arrived in my workshop as a box of radios from a friend of mine whom was moving and needed to lighten the load. So I got this and another 2950 that is going to require some more work, but this one I went through and did a full alignment procedure on it for AM, upper, lower sideband, CW, all that fun stuff. Receiver sensitivity was brought up a bit. Actually, there was quite a bit in there to gain, to the point where with the RF gain, now I do have to actually run it slightly lower to keep things kind of in check on the static side. It's not a bad receiver, believe it or not. Doesn't have a whole lot of filtering where you can notch out bleed over problems like that, but still, nevertheless, it's a very, very capable radio. I'm on the 10 meter FM side of the band, listening on 29.600, and I do have that going into the DNA Phantom, which is a 10 tube sweep tube style transmitter. It's a linear, I mean. So it's a heavy monster. I need to go through and do a restoration on it still. Right now it's been kind of statically set for 10 meter, 11 meter. I want to put a coil back in this that'll utilize that front port for the 40, 20, 15, 10, 12, that whole range. Because I think that would just be a nice thing to have back, so that this amp can be used for a little bit more than just 10 meter and 11 meter and 12. So it would be really nice to have it just as a nostalgia fun amplifier to kick around. By no means were these fantastic amps on the side of clean power, but I got good responses. Good clean RF in means good clean RF out generally. So I did have to retube a portion of this Phantom because quite a few of the sweep tubes, as most of you are probably aware, they're not only getting very, very expensive. If you had to completely retube this amp, you would exceed its value and then some. So the tubes alone are actually worth about as much, if not more, than the amp itself working. So if you buy one really, really cheap, because you're probably going to find that you're going to have to stick a lot of money into putting some new sweep tubes in this monster. The power supply really needs to be gone through on this. They're still all original caps. I brought it up slowly on the bench to kind of give them a fighting chance, and to not really be hammering the tubes or the transformer, but it's going to need it. There's some iffy caps in this that I'll be rebuilding here soon. So anyway, I've got it hooked up to the Bird watt meter, and on the power setting that I currently have at, which is about 4 watts a drive, I get 170, 180 out of the amp on its current configuration, which is low power. I believe it's on the 250 section, so it's only using a portion of the tubes that are in there. I have it on AM or FM type, so sideband puts a capacitor in play which holds the circuit open a little longer, so you're not triggering that relay off and on as you're talking. Anyway, so, and then I do have it currently in standby because I just got done making a contact with a gentleman out of Florida. His call is Kilo Papa 4 Whiskey Kilo, and he had a really nice signal. He's probably still in there, assuming conditions are holding. So I'll bring the volume up on the radio and you might be able to hear that contact, or at least if conditions hold, we'll be able to still hear him. Oh, I wasn't even running all that much power, actually. I've got the 100 watt slug in here, and I was only doing... Oh, geez, I was actually only doing about 35 watts, 38 watts, somewhere in there. So, even more impressive. I need to change that in the logbook because I was not running the 200 watts. I was running less. I was running 40, we'll just say. Very cool. Very, very cool. So, anyway, yeah, this is just it's kind of a fun radio. I'm probably going to be putting the Sommerkamp for sale. I don't need that many CB-ish type radios. I'd like to send those down the line to somebody who may want them. Preferably a technician class amateur radio operator to take advantage of that 10 meter portion of the band. Upper sideband works beautifully on this as well. The clarifier is not unlocked. It is receive only. A lot of people will modify these and lock them in as a where the clarifier will swing both the receive and the transmit around. And in my opinion, that's fine, but this doesn't have a center detent to lock you in on the center of the frequency. So you end up drifting quite a bit out of your range. And it's kind of a CB radio thing where people want to unlock that clarifier, mainly because so many other radios are off frequency that you want to drift over to where they're at so that you can talk to them. But anyway, it is what it is. But this one I left with the clarifier left alone. Does full power, roughly about 22 to 25 watts is what it's rated to do on sideband. And I think, let me just look here what I don't have that open anymore. I believe it was like a 25 watt radio essentially, and on low with the RF power turned all the way down on AM and FM, it's 4 watts that I have it set to. So if you're driving in a linear amplifier like a 2 transistor CB radio type 1, this radio will work quite well. You just want to make sure that your RF gain or your RF power is turned all the way down to prevent you from overdriving a low drive amplifier. Don't think because the needle's swinging farther that you're actually making good power. You're actually making maybe splatter power. So RF meters are usually very, very accurate, and if you have dirty RF coming out, it's going to calculate that as RF regardless. So you really want to have it on a spectrum analyzer to make sure that you are giving clean, deviated, clean power that's not splattery. Anyway. So, with that being said, it's just a fun little setup. Obviously, it's something that I wanna get this 2950, this RCI 2950 type radio. It's the same board, same screen, same menuing. Just it's labeled as a Sommerkamp, which is kind of neat in its own regards, I guess. So it's pretty much an all original radio. The covers don't look too bad. I'm going to give it a nice cleanup before I send it down the road. There's a bracket for it, and it's a new bracket. I have new thumb screws as well, and I'm going to switch out the front panel diaphragm because this one's actually white. The one that's in there is yellow. So we're going to go ahead and switch that out to make it just a little bit nicer, cleaner looking. So nice radio. It's working great. I've made some fun contacts on it, and I'm very happy to have this thing finished up. I have the other RCI 2950 that's a little more trucker modified chrome covers, you know, red, white, and blue LEDs behind the buttons, as well as the screen is white instead of the traditional LED colors. So it does have a tiny blemish in the bottom corner. It's not a big deal, but it is a thing. And I do need to source one more of the inner adjusters for specifically the RF gain, because it's missing. When I got the radios, they were blown apart, so some of those parts sadly went missing. So the knob was originally painted on the other one as well, white, as well as the other face was painted white, and the paint did not adhere right. It fish-eyed it. It must have had oils or something that just did not cooperate with the paint process. So there was a replacement RCI Ranger 2950. So I might make a contact with that guy here in a second, because he's got a big signal. But anyway, yeah, working radios. Gotta love it. So hope you guys enjoyed. I know this was just a weird off video, more CB related than anything, but it is 10 meter FM on the amateur band. Kind of fun to play around, and proves that this export type radio is very, very usable for both levels if you are looking at having CB, as well as there are jumpers in here if you wanted to get rid of the CB operation as well. I'll probably just leave it for CB. Again, you use it at your own risk type of situation. So hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you in another nerdy moment, and maybe I'll show you the next project we have, which is, well, first of all, finishing up the Kenwood for the customer, as well as I've got another 2 meter radio here that I need to go through, that Alinco DR112, set the deviation on it, and that thing can go off to a new home. I've got some more CB radio sidebander type stuff that I want to get out of here. So yeah, that guy's got a nice signal. Anyway. Anyway, so hope you guys enjoyed. We'll catch you later. 7-3.